Hello, sixth graders. We are starting Unit 9, which is on applying percents. And our first lesson is percent of a number, and this is 7-1 out of our textbook. And our learning target today is I can calculate any percent of a given number. Some vocab that we need to know for this lesson and for this unit is that the word of means to multiply, and is means equals. Okay, so there's two methods that we're going to use here for this lesson for finding the percent of a number. First, you could write the percent as a fraction. Remember, percents are a number out of 100. So you would write the percent as a fraction, and then you would multiply that with your number. Or the other way is to turn the percent into a decimal and then multiply. And remember, for that, to go from a percent to a decimal, you divide by 100 or move the decimal 2 to the left. Okay, so I'm going to show the two methods here of what you would do. The first one is fraction. And we are trying to find 5% of 300. So as a fraction, 5% is 5 out of 100. And then we would multiply that by 300. To multiply this, we turn it into a fraction. Any whole number can be put over 1. Look for shortcuts. 100 and 300 can both be divided by 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1. 300 divided by 100 is 3. Now multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15. And 1 times 1 is 1. So our answer would be 15. So 5% of 300 is 15. Or the other way is to do this as a turn the percent into a decimal. So 5%. Again, to turn this into a decimal, divide it by 100. Same thing as moving the decimal 1, 2 to the left. Draw your decimal point. Fill in with a 0. So you would take 0.05 or 5/100ths, and you would multiply it by 300. So this is where we would go to our calculator. 300 times 0.05, and that equals 15. So either way that you do it, whether it's with a fraction or a decimal, you should get the same answer. Okay, here are some for us to try. I'll try a few with you, and then you can try some on your own. Again, you can use either a fraction or a decimal to find your answers. Okay, and it says here to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary, so just something to note. I'm going to do the first one as a decimal. So 10% of 50. 10%, move the decimal 2 to the left, so it'd be 0.1 times 50. On your calculator, that equals 5. Okay. 40% of 120, write that as a fraction. 40 over 100 times 120. Can put that as over 1. Let's simplify. We can divide both of these by 10. 40 times 12 is 480. 10 times 1 is 10. The zeros cancel, so you are left with 48 over 1, which is just 48. Okay. So either method, the decimal or as a fraction. Okay. Just to show that, let's go back and do this 10% of 50 as a fraction. So it would be 10 over 100 times 50 over 1. 50 goes in there twice, 50 goes in there once. 10 times 1 is 10 over 2 times 1, which equals 5. So either way, you get the same answer. Same thing if you move this decimal over. 0.4 times 120. 120 times 0.4 equals 48. So again, either way, whichever method you use, you should get the same answer in the end. So you just decide which one makes more sense for you. Okay. So I'm going to do these top two as decimals and the bottom two as fractions. Okay. And then Actually, flip that. I'm going to do the top two as fractions. So, but you can try them on your own and come back and check your answers. So 12% of 12, 12 over 100 times 12 over 1. 12 times 12 is 24. 100 times 1 is 100. Okay. Now 24, turning this into a decimal, 24 divided by 100. Numerator divided by denominator equals 0.24. So 24 hundredths. Okay. Find 60% of 264. 60 over 100 times by 264 over 1. Okay. I can simplify dividing these by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50. 264 divided by 2 is 132. 132 times 60 equals 7,920. 50 times 1 is 50. Now take 7,920 divided by 50, and you would get 158.4. Okay? Now these two, 82.5%, there's already a decimal in here, so you take that decimal and move it 2 to the left, and that's what your new decimal would be. So 82.5% as a decimal would be 0.825. Then you take that of 400, of means to multiply. Okay, so multiplied by 400. 0.825 times 400 equals 330. Okay? And then what is 25/100th% of 900? Again, you already have a decimal in here, but you need to move that 1, 2 to the left to get rid of that percent sign. So now we have 0.025, of means to multiply by 900. So we take 900 times 0.0025, and you get 2.25, which is a really small number, but if you think about it, 0.25%, 25/100th% is a very small percentage. That's less than 1%. Okay? All right, so now we are looking when percents are greater than 100. Both methods will still work for this. Okay? So I am going to try this top one, 120% of 75. I'll do both methods first as a fraction. 120% would be 120 out of 100 times by 75 over 1. Both of these can be divided by 25. 120 times 3 would be 360. 4 times 1 is 4. So 360 divided by 4 equals 90. Or I can take this and turn it into a decimal, move my decimal 1, 2 to the left. So now it's 1.20 times 75, which equals 90. Now, if you look at it, your answer is bigger than the number that we originally started with up here. And that makes sense because 120%, okay, 100% of 75 would be the full amount, 75. So anything more than that, any percentage more than that, is going to give us a number bigger than 75. Okay? Couple here for you to try on your own. Find 150% of 20. I'm going to do this one as a decimal. So move it 1, 2 to the left. 1.5 of 20, of again means to multiply. 1.5 times 20 equals 30. Okay. And the other one, find 160% of 35. 160 as a fraction would be 160 over 100, because any percent is out of 100, times by 35 over 1. Both can be divided by 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Now multiply numerators, multiply denominators. 160 times 7 is 1,120. 20 times 1 is 20. Divide numerator by denominator, and you get 56. And again, both answers were bigger than the numbers that we started with because our percent is more than 100%. All right, so now we're given a survey here, okay? So let's start with looking at the results of this survey and the information that we have here. So survey results of number of televisions in-house. Okay, so somebody surveyed some people and they found out that the amount of people with 0 TVs is 2%, 1 TV is 9%, so on and so forth. Okay. Each TV represents 5%. Okay. Question here says, refer to the graph. If 275 students took the survey, how many can be expected to have 3 televisions in their house? Okay. So they are, let's look at this information that they have given us. They are surveying 275 people, or students, and we want to know how many of those kids would have 3 televisions. Well, based on the survey, 23% have 3 TVs. So we would take the amount of students surveyed, 275, and we are going to multiply it by 23%. All right, I'm going to turn this into a decimal, move it 1, 2 to the left. So take 275 times by 0.23. Okay. So plug this into your calculator, times 0.23. And we get 63.25. And now since it's talking about people, okay, you wouldn't really have a quarter of a person. So I'm going to say approximately. I'm going to round up on this one because we still want to count that quarter of a person. 64 students. Okay. Another question here. Refer to the graph above. Suppose 455 students took the survey. How many can be expected to have more than 4 TVs in their house? Well, the more than 4 is right here. 25%. Okay, we're going to multiply that by the total number of students surveyed, 455. Okay, let's turn this into a decimal. 0.25 times 455. Okay, and that equals 113.75. Again, you couldn't have 3/4 of a person, so let's round up to approximately 114 students. So 114 students have more than 4 TVs in their house. All right, you can go back and rewatch any part of this video that you're still stuck on. Otherwise, the online textbook has resources for you. Otherwise, head on over and take your 7-1 NICU at this time.